Now we have learnt about how water allocations work, how water leaves the dam and how it gets into our channel system, how we also manage it, along with the journey from manual to automation. What we will talk about now is what happens when we deliver that water to our farmers, what they do with it, and what a typical farm business looks like. But also, more importantly, what are the other things farmers consider doing with their water? There are three things farmers can do with their water. They can either sell it, grow crops, or carry it over. In our region, the typical winter crops that we grow are wheat, barley, oats, and canola. These crops are typically sown and irrigated in the autumn. They're grown throughout the winter months and irrigated again in the spring to finish the crops off. The typical summer crops we grow are rice, corn, lucerne and cotton. These crops are sown around mid-October, irrigated throughout the summer and harvested in the autumn. The majority of our crops are what we call annuals. They grow for about 3 to 6 months. Depending on the water allocation made available and the crop markets, farmers will adjust the area and types of crops that they grow. For example, in a high water allocation, a farmer would grow more crops. And in a low allocation year, they might cut back the crops grown or perhaps even sell the water if the value is high enough. When farmers grow their crops, they typically flood irrigate. This means water makes its way across the paddock surface, delivered through a channel system. The first flood system is through border check. This is where water fills up the farmer's channel. From there, they open up the bay outlet and water flows through that bay outlet across the paddock where their plants are growing and ends up in a drainage system. The water then lands in the drainage system and can be recycled to be used on another bay. Crops that are typically grown with border check are canola, winter cereals and lucerne. The second flood system is through contour. Think of terraced landscapes of rice growing in Asia that is cut into the mountains. We have an equivalent here, but on a much larger scale, as our landscape is much flatter, hence the contour bays are much bigger. The contour bay holds the water, then it steps down to the next lowest level, which can be as little as 5 centimetres difference in level and so on. Again, the water comes out of the farmer's channel through an outlet and fills up the first contour bay. At the end of the bay is another outlet where the farmer can regulate the water so that it spills over the top to fill the next bay and so on. Rice is typically grown in these systems so that water can be ponded. These layouts can also be used for growing other crops such as wheat or barley, but these layouts can be more prone to waterlogging if they do not have good drainage systems in place. As a general rule of thumb, the faster you can get water on and off those layouts, the more efficient you are with your water. By efficiency, we mean water being used by that plant for production. Inefficient layouts mean that more water can be lost through seepage and transmission losses. This means it will cost the farmer more to irrigate. Another form of irrigation is spray. This is where water is pumped into overhead sprinklers that waters the plant from above. There are different types of spray irrigation systems. The first one is a centre pivot, where the structure moves around in a circle. Typically, carrots and potatoes are grown via this method on sandhills, and they are also used on flat country irrigating winter crops. Another common type of spray is a lateral move, where the water is pumped from a long channel which feeds the overhead sprayers as it moves up and down the paddock. The third and much less common form of irrigation system is micro. This is where water is pumped from a high pressure pump, filtered and delivered through pipes, and it drips out at a slow pace to the plant's root zone. This is often seen in more intensive systems such as grapes or in orchards. Some of these systems are in our area and they grow things like tomatoes and lucerne.